The sound of the ship's engine gradually faded as we approached Eldoria. Sarah, couldn't contain my excitement. The view of the planet through the window was breathtaking. A vast, lush green expanse, dotted with pulsating lights that seemed to dance under the light of two stars. Next to me, Jake, the skeptical engineer, looked on with an expression of indifference. He was always like this, always questioning, always doubtful. "I just hope this isn't another planet with nothing useful," he said, crossing his arms. "Look at it, Jake. It's incredible. Imagine the possibilities for scientific discovery." I tried to convince him, feeling the adrenaline coursing through my veins. We could find new species, maybe even something that changes our understanding of life. Or we could find that there's nothing here but worthless vegetation. "Let's just collect what we need and get back," he replied, making it clear that his priorities were far from scientific exploration. After landing, we stepped out of the ship, and I was immediately enveloped by the sounds of the forest, a symphony of songs and whispers, as if the planet itself was welcoming us. Lisa, the group's botanist, was already examining some luminescent plants. "Look at this. These leaves seem to contain unique chemical compounds." Her excitement was contagious. "Sarah, let's stay focused. We need to collect samples and return," Jake insisted, but I couldn't ignore the beauty around me. The trees were tall and imposing, their bark glowing under the starlight. "But Jake, we can't miss out on exploring. This forest, it's full of secrets." The tension was rising, but curiosity won out. As we walked, I spotted stone structures covered in glowing moss. "Look at this. Ancient structures," I exclaimed, feeling a chill down my spine. They could be remnants of an extinct civilization. Jake rolled his eyes. "I think you're romanticizing this too much. Let's focus on our work." "You don't get it, Jake. This is a discovery. We need to investigate." The atmosphere shifted as we ventured deeper into the forest, and the feeling that we were being watched began to unsettle me. Suddenly, a sharp breeze swept past us, and I felt as if something was surrounding us. "Did you hear that?" I asked, looking around. Before anyone could respond, a bright light emerged from between the trees, revealing ethereal forms that floated, dancing in the air. "Who are you?" Jake asked, his voice a mix of disbelief and fear. The entities approached, whispering in harmonious tones, as if speaking directly to our souls. "We are the souls of Eldoria," they said in unison, and the forest seemed to vibrate with their words. The air grew heavy, and I realized we were at a point of no return. The adventures that awaited us would change our lives forever. The atmosphere in Eldoria's forest was thick with tension and mystery. I watched the floating souls, their ethereal forms dancing around us, as I tried to connect with them. I could hear their soft whispers, as if they were telling stories that transcended time. "Why don't you try to understand, Jake?" I asked, turning to him, who was visibly agitated. "Sarah, this is insane. How can we trust something we don't understand? They could be manipulating us," he replied, his gaze fixed on the souls, which seemed more curious than threatening. Lisa, completely absorbed by the plants, leaned down to examine a flower that glowed in a vibrant blue hue. "Look at this. This plant could have incredible medicinal properties." She didn't seem to care about Jake's warnings, and I admired her passion. "Lisa, aren't you listening? We need to get out of here," Jake insisted, the frustration in his voice intensifying. My heart tightened. What were we really doing here? The scientific curiosity in me wrestled with the caution that Jake was conveying. The souls then began to speak in harmony, and one of them, with a voice as gentle as the breeze, said, "We were destroyed by greed. What you seek here can bring both knowledge and destruction." I shivered at their words. How could they know so much about human nature? "We need to hear what they have to say," I said, looking at Jake. "If we can learn from their mistakes, maybe we can avoid the same tragedy." But he shook his head, skeptical. Just because they speak to us doesn't mean we should trust them. We need to leave now, Jake insisted, and the tension between us grew. The sound of the forest seemed to grow louder, as if it were responding to our argument. That night, sitting around the campfire, the atmosphere was heavy. Do you really believe we should trust them? Jake questioned, his tone challenging. How can we be sure we're not making a pact with something we don't understand? Jake, they're not our enemies. They just want to help us, I argued, trying to stay calm. We can't ignore what they're trying to teach us. Look at what happened to them. I can't just accept this, he replied, his voice low and tense. I can't trust something I can't see or understand. Suddenly, a loud noise erupted from the forest, and we all flinched, our hearts racing. The souls fell silent, their forms glowing intensely, as if they felt the same unease as we did. What was that? Lisa murmured, looking around, her eyes wide with fear. We should investigate, Mark suggested, his voice steady. But uncertainty hung in the air, and I knew that the night would reveal even greater mysteries in Eldoria. The forest pulsed around us, and the sound we had heard grew more intense as we approached the center. My heart pounded as we moved toward the noise, and the atmosphere was thick with a nearly palpable expectation. That's when we found the crystal, a giant pulsating mass that emitted a soft, hypnotic light. The ethereal souls gathered around it, their forms dancing in the breeze as if connected to the crystal's energy. This is the heart of Eldoria, one of the souls whispered, its voice resonating in my mind. We need your help to protect it. Jake, ever the skeptic, frowned. Protect it from what? What could be so dangerous in this place? He looked at me and Lisa, as if expecting us to agree with him. We can't ignore what they're saying, Jake, I replied, trying to contain my frustration. This crystal is fundamental to life here. If something threatens it, it could destroy everything. Lisa stepped closer, drawn by the crystal's beauty. I want to help. Imagine what we could learn if we join them. Jake shook his head, but his expression showed doubt. What if we're just getting involved in something we don't understand? We can't just trust mysterious words. Maybe we should stay the night here, I suggested, trying to find a compromise. Observe, learn. Then we can decide what to do. I'm not staying here at the mercy of ghosts, Jake responded, clearly disturbed. He backed away, distancing himself from the beings that seemed so desperate for help. I watched him disappear among the trees, and a knot of worry made me hesitate. Meanwhile, the souls surrounded me, their soft voices whispering promises of knowledge and protection. Darkness is approaching, one of them said, its eyes glowing with a sad light. We need you, Sarah. What if Jake's right? I asked, doubt gnawing at me. What if this is a mistake? Not all truths are understandable at first glance, another soul responded, with a serenity that calmed me. The love of life is an inherent instinct. Trust us. Meanwhile, Jake continued on his path, drawn by a shadow moving between the trees. Curiosity drove him, but I couldn't ignore the growing unease within me. He should be here, not wandering off. The forest felt alive and at the same time, threatened, and I knew we had to unite, not just as explorers, but as guardians of Eldoria. The wave of energy Jake had unleashed reverberated through the crystal, and I felt my heart race. The ground shook beneath our feet as a bright light emanated from the crystal, illuminating the forest with a supernatural glow. The souls began to float more intensely, their ethereal forms pulsing with desperation. Panic gripped me. Jake, what did you do? I shouted, running toward him, with Lisa close behind. I didn't know this would happen. He looked around, his eyes wide with fear, as he tried to escape the trap he had fallen into. I just wanted to understand. The souls, now in a nearly deafening chorus of whispers, pleaded for our help. The energy must be restored. You must act quickly. One of the souls approached me, its voice soft like a breeze. The connection between you and the crystal is vital. We need you. The urgency of the situation filled me with a wave of determination. Come on, Jake. We need to unite and channel the energy back into the crystal. I reached out to him, and after a moment of hesitation, he grabbed my hand, his expression shifting from fear to determination. Lisa joined us, and soon we formed a small circle. I tried to figure all this out on my own, but now I see we need each other, she said. The souls are right. We must connect with them. We are the key, Jake murmured, now more confident. But how do we do it? The soul that had spoken to me before approached, and its memories began to surface in my mind like flashes of light. Feel the energy of the crystal. Let it flow through you. Share your stories. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. I remembered my childhood, the nights spent gazing at the stars, dreaming of worlds beyond Earth. I've always sought answers, I began. And now I realize there's something greater than us. Lisa joined in. Eldoria is a place of learning. I want to protect this forest and its stories. The energy around us began to vibrate, and the souls reacted, their undulating forms transforming into a dance of light. Connect! Connect! The souls whispered in unison. Jake hesitated for a moment, but seeing the intensity of the situation, he finally joined us. I want to understand too. I'm here. In that instant, the energy radiating from the crystal began to stabilize, and a sense of peace spread through our connection. I looked at the faces of my companions, all absorbed in the experience. It was as if we were becoming part of Eldoria's very essence. But the fight wasn't over. The souls were intensifying, and the connection we were establishing still needed more strength. Come on, we need to focus and believe in each other. I shouted, feeling that the real battle was just beginning. I stood there, at the center of the circle formed by Sarah, Lisa, and the souls of Eldoria. The crystal's pulse reverberated in my chest, and though I felt skeptical, something deep inside me cried out for connection. I recalled the choices I'd made throughout my life, decisions that often reflected my selfishness and insecurity. Jake, are you okay? Sarah's voice cut through my thoughts. I looked at her and saw the determination in her eyes, the same look she had when we first encountered the ethereal beings. We're all in this together. You're part of this moment too. She was right. It was time to let go of my skepticism. I don't know if I can, I replied, my voice trembling. Yes, you can. Just open your heart, Lisa said, giving me an encouraging smile. I felt Sarah's hand reach for mine, and the energy emanating from her was almost tangible. The crystal pulsed in sync with our emotions, and I could feel the harmony beginning to form. I took a deep breath, allowing the energy to flow through me. I closed my eyes and remembered all the times I hesitated to connect with others, the times I let fear take over. The souls began to whisper, their voices like soft melodies echoing in my mind. Union is the key, they said. To understand is to transcend. Suddenly, a wave of warmth washed over me, and I found myself enveloped in an intense light emanating from the crystal. The dark force threatening the forest seemed to retreat, as if being repelled by the energy that now united us. I'm with you, I said, feeling the connection strengthen. I'm here. The crystal's light grew brighter, illuminating our faces as the dark force faded into the shadows of the forest. A sense of relief and gratitude filled me. You've succeeded, one of the souls said, its voice a soft echo. The true essence of life is union and understanding. As the light dissipated, I looked at my companions' faces. Sarah was radiant, and Lisa had tears of joy in her eyes. I felt different, renewed. The skepticism that once consumed me was now transforming into curiosity and openness. What do we do now? I asked, my voice more confident. We need to explore more, Sarah replied, now with a new sparkle in her eyes. The forest hides so many secrets. We can learn together. And so, we decided to move forward, not just as explorers but as allies. With the protection of the souls, we were ready to discover what Eldoria still had to teach us. As we walked deeper into the forest, a soft light began to emanate from a large tree ahead of us. The trunk was vast and covered in luminescent moss that pulsed in an almost hypnotic rhythm. The souls began to gather around us, forming an ethereal circle that seemed to revere the majestic tree. Sarah, her eyes shining with excitement, stepped closer. "This tree, it's the source of life in Eldoria," one of the souls said, its voice echoing like a gentle song. "It connects all living beings on this planet. Its energy flows through every leaf, every root, sustaining existence." "It's incredible," I murmured, still trying to process the magnitude of it all. "If the tree is the source, maybe we can learn more about the ancient civilization here. We need to document this." "You're right, Jake," Sarah replied, with a smile that lit up her face. "We should make this mission a collaboration. It's not just a quest for resources, it's an opportunity to understand and preserve the wisdom this place offers." Jake, who had been skeptical before, now seemed more open. "What if we help restore the remnants of the ancient civilization? We can't just take what we want and leave. We need to give back." "Yes. Let's work together to restore what was lost," Lisa suggested, excited. "We can learn so much from the souls and the history they hold." The emotion in the air was palpable. We approached the tree, and on impulse, we formed a circle around it. "Let's celebrate our new friendship," Sarah said, wrapping her arms around our companions. The sense of unity was intense, almost like the energy of the tree itself, and we realized that what united us was deeper than our differences. "We're in this together," I murmured, feeling the warmth of the group embrace. True exploration isn't just about discovering new planets, it's about listening to and respecting the stories of all beings. The forest around us began to glow brightly, as if responding to our newfound determination. The tree's light spread, enveloping us in a mantle of hope and harmony. We felt that we were indeed just beginning our journey, not just as explorers, but as guardians of a legacy that transcends time and space.